we have worked on it, put it that way. And yeah, as soon as it dropped the bomb, everybody knew
Yeah.
where it was.
What did you folks kind of feel after you heard that news?
We were proud,
Mhm.
of course, that it made it, and the pilot had visited the plant. In fact, President Roosevelt visited one time when we were still working on the 26s
Uh-huh.
to give us an E award for our excellence in
That was a very
building.
important award, yes.
And
But you missed him.
yeah, I missed him because that was my day off.
Oh.
They had staggered hours to work. We worked 6 days and 2 days off. That way they got by with a 40-hour week. And but we did put in a lot of overtime too when we were behind. And at the time, looking back, I remember the grumbling that went on, and somebody tried to start a union, and it didn't go through because the work ethic in Nebraska, for Nebraska people, was work and pride in their work. And most of the people working there were either farmers or businessmen, or probably 75% of them were wives of people in service.
You know, I read the other day that at the time of the B-29, when you made it, the workforce there was over 40% women.
Oh yeah.
There was over 5,000 women, or 6,000 were working at the Martin plant. And of course, that whole situation changed forever. The idea about the women had to stay at home.
Yes.
And that kind of was the start of working outside the home. Well, it was an interesting time, a very patriotic time.
We, people back in those days were patriotic. We supported the government, we supported the men in service. We did a lot of going without things. Things were rationed. We went without no elastic in our underwear. It wasn't unknown that you'd be walking along and you'd lose your underwear.
Oh,
but we were patriotic and did a lot of recycling and so on.
Sure, sure. Well, about the time of the bomb, you got married. About 45.
In 45, yes, after the plant closed.
Yeah. So you went on. You had 3 children. Your boy was born with Down syndrome,
yes.
And that pretty much changed the attack of your life. I mean, the direction.
Yeah, our first child was a boy born with Down syndrome. Back in those days, it was called Mongolism, and we were told that put him in an institution immediately. He'll be wild and so on, and said that he wouldn't live beyond 12 years. Well, he lived to be 47 years old, and there was no place for kids like that to go. There was no service whatever, except the Beatrice State Developmental Center. There was over 2,500, about 2,600 people in there, and I put my son in Beatrice when he had his 5th birthday down there. They took him and said, well, you can't come see him for 6 weeks. So we waited to 6 weeks, and I went down to see him. I had sent him down, a pudgy little fat kid. I went down there, his arms and legs were skinny, he had a pot belly, and they had said that he had been in the hospital with a lung ailment. And so I brought him back to Lincoln, took him to a pediatrician, and he looked at him and he said, this kid's got strep throat. And the night before, we had stayed with some friends, and he sat there and he drank a quart of milk and ate a whole bunch of potato chips. He was starving.
Yeah. Well, to make a long story short, your involvement with this, you set up kind of cells with parents in the communities of Omaha and Lincoln, Norfolk.
At the time, it was an era of development or isn't the word I want to use, the changing of things, because parents were becoming frustrated and needed services. And we got together, parents all over, nationwide, not just Norfolk,
Yeah.
and nationwide, and we had the National Association for Retarded Citizens, and out of that, there was a cell developed in Omaha first, Norfolk second, and Lincoln third. And the parents, we just got together and worked towards legislation, worked towards services, anything we could do.
Yes, and this became really your life's work, and then
Yes.
you wound up as a regional director.
Yes,
Yeah.
eventually our little businesses turned into service provided, because we got, there was an Office of Mental Retardation started, and we set up 7, I think it was 6 different regions in the state, and Norfolk was region 4, Lincoln is still region 5, and they set a government for it, governing board consisting of county commissioners from each county. And so there was an existing agency there, and it just went from nothing to services.
Well, you did, and I know you must be very proud of what developed out of that and the progress that was made. I wish we had more time to visit, but
Yeah.
our guest has been Ruth Sorensen, who retired as a director of the area, working with these disadvantaged and disabled young people from toddlers clear up to age 20. And we want to congratulate you, Ruth, not only for your wartime service, but your lifetime service in
Thank
working
you.
with these people. Certainly you're a part of what Tom Brokaw called the grand generation.
Thank
So we
you.
want to thank you so much for coming in
Thank
today.
you.
And we want to thank all of our guests for being a part of the program. And as we always remind you, it's never too late to live and learn.